More adults with autism are set to benefit from new residential spaces and programs at the St. Andrew's Autism Centre, supported by $5 million raised at the ACE Team Foundation's inaugural gala. The fundraiser hopes to address what's known as a post-18 cliff, where individuals with autism aged above 18 lose access to support and programs after transitioning out of school. And for more on this, we're joined by Bernard Chu, who is CEO of St. Andrew's Autism Centre, as well as Chloe Tong, who is co-founder of ACE Team Foundation. Bernard, Chloe, welcome to the show. Now, Bernard, we want to start with you first.
Hi.
What are some of the biggest challenges that adults with autism and their caregivers face in this so-called post-18 cliff?
Yeah. So our graduates from our SPED schools graduate at the age of 18, and while some of them will be able to be employed, some of them will have the difficulty being placed in employment. And for these,
Now, it looks like we might have some connection issues with Bernard. Chloe, I want to go to you for now. Now, this is ACE Team Foundation's first fundraiser. So why the focus on adults with autism?
You know, when we started our foundation, it was really important to figure out what was going to be, where we could add value and what was important to us. We focused a lot on second chances, but particularly what really struck us was to advocate for those who can't advocate for themselves. And I think this is one particular group that really spoke to us, that needs our support, that needs a home away from home and their dignity.
And also, an Adopt a Resident pledge was launched tonight as well. How will this help families who cannot afford long-term residential care? And how is the foundation going to make the initiative sustainable?
You know, the Adopt a Resident pledge really came about. It was something that was not an auction item. There was no winner, no loser. It was about a community being able to come together and pledge and all together and give and only focus on, from the bottom of their hearts, supporting these residents. When we talk about being sustainable, I think for our foundation, we do look a lot at being data-driven and numbers. But what really wakes me up at night and what wakes me up every morning and drive the foundation is supporting the one first, supporting the one, feeding the one, loving on the one. And we believe as long as we keep focusing on the one, that would create a much bigger multiplier effect for society.
Right. Now, Bernard, I want to come back to you now. What are some of the risks when structured programs or placements are not available? And what types of support are very urgently needed right now?
so when students from our special ed schools graduate at the age of 18, they will need services that deliver daily engagement and programming. For example, in our day activity centers and in sheltered workshops. But unfortunately, nationally, there is a shortage of places in such centers. But we believe that with some of the generosity of donors like ACE Team and also others that came for tonight's gala, we're going to be able to do a little bit more for this group. And of course, later on in their lives, they will need to also transition into residential services. And that's where really the monies raised today go a long way to helping many of them access what we call a home away from home, where their parents and their relatives are no longer able to take care of them.
Now, Bernard, how will the new wing at St. Andrew's Adult Home change that level of care for residents? Is it currently sufficient to plug those existing demand gaps?
So with the amounts raised, we do intend to both scale up somewhat the services that we have. And the new wings will, of course, allow us to take in more residents. But we also want to improve the quality of the service. And what that means is that we would be able to invest some of the funds raised into improving the spaces and improving the programs that we run for the residents as well. Because it's not just about how many we can serve. It's really also about giving them that quality of life, the dignity, and just helping them live as dignified a life as possible.
Yeah, Chloe, let's turn to you now. It takes a village to support individuals with autism, as Bernard was alluding to just now. What more can the rest of society do then to help address this problem?
For us, we didn't wake up one morning and decide we were going to support St. Andrew's Autism Center. This has been a 2-year relationship. We've been volunteering there, spending lots of time with their leadership team. And I think for us, it was just finding what needs were not being met in our community, what causes we could get involved in, where we could add value, where we could multiply. And we see ourselves from the foundation as really being able to rally people together from different gifts and talents, pull people together to spark that change and ignite something bigger and multiply. So I just say get out there in the community, figure out what needs are not being met, and rally people together behind it. And I think that's the goal.
Yeah, well, Bernard, how about you? What more do you think is needed for the rest of society when it comes to addressing this issue?
Well, certainly what the ACE team and the donors that turn up today have done is really very heartening for us in the autism community, because what they've shown us is we're not alone. And it's not just the gifts of their financial resources, it's really also their gift of time. And, when they come and volunteer with us, what they're saying is that they're willing to be the friends of these people that we serve. Beyond that, I would say that in the public spaces, I hope Singaporeans will take time to also find out a little bit more about autism and why persons with autism behave the way they do, so that we can have more welcoming public spaces. And our beneficiaries and their families do not feel uneasy, being out in public.
Yeah. Bernard, Chloe, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your views with us. That was Bernard Chew from St. Andrew's Autism Center and Chloe Tong from ACE Team Foundation.